So I apparently I need to get the merch store finished. And the reason I say that is one of our YouTube shorts about the merch store, I guess it caught the algorithm today. And I've had 4 different people message me about it. So yes, we do have merch coming. I just need to get in there and figure out how to finish it all up. And then we will put the merch store up. So I'm going to make it a priority. I'm going to try to get that done.
Excellent. You guys will be able to get your Superhero Homie merch soon so people know who you represent.
That's right. On a completely different note, though, I was reading something today, and it was just kind of proof that Warner Brothers Discovery hasn't learned anything.
Oh, no.
Apparently, it's coming out now, or that internally, they are hanging not only the fate of DC on the Superman movie, but basically the company. And it's like apparently they're going to start shopping around for like a potential buyer if the movie doesn't do well.
Wow. What state was DC in when Zaslav got his hands on it? I mean, we know he's been slashing and burning practically since day one, since he got there.
Well, so, you know, the main problem, I mean, we could sit here and probably have a 3-parter on the rise and fall of DCEU, right? I mean, and the rise part is not very long. But if we were to sit here and do that, you know, we could say whatever we want to, but the root cause, if you really look at it, is how they constantly were trying to pivot and grab the moment. Right, they were constantly trying to simultaneously take in feedback, and just course correct constantly. And everything after the Justice League, which was a colossal failure. I mean, you take a look at like the Zack Snyder product, which we eventually got in the Snyder Cut. That's what we originally would have gotten. And I think it would have made gangbusters.
Oh, yeah.
But instead of that, we ended up getting this watered down Joss Whedon shit. They lost literally their entire core cast. Most of them never returned or didn't want to work with DC anymore or didn't want to play those characters anymore after that. Horrible experience. They spent, what was it, like $500 million, some insane amount of money on that. All just to bankrupt everything. And then after that, every single movie had this like savior like pin on it. It couldn't just be a movie. It's this movie has to save the DCEU. They said it with Aquaman, they said it with The Flash, they said it with Wonder Woman 2. I mean even Birds of Prey. And not one of these movies did anything other than just make their reputation worse. I mean, say what you will about Marvel, but at least they're like, we're going to put this shit out, and for the most part, they do. And they have done some of the similar things with the course correcting, although Disney's track record with that is much worse with like Star Wars than it is with Marvel. But I don't know, man. I think the first instance of Marvel trying to do that was probably Brave New World, right? I mean, you can tell they kind of boiled that down to like, this movie can't be offensive to anyone, you know.
But we've had this discussion before. With Marvel, it's really going to be more about like Fantastic Four and how they maneuver with that movie,
right? But that's all coming from us, though, right? Like, you haven't heard Kevin Feige say that shit,
right?
Like, Kevin Feige's not like, oh, you know, Fantastic Four doesn't do well, we're fucked. You know, we'll hang it up.
And that's such a wild statement to make. Like, what does that do to James Gunn to know that his movie, his first, well, not his first, but like his first outing within like the official DCU on the big screen, the success or failure on it depends on him, like, entirely.
Yeah, and James Gunn is a you know, a creative. He's a filmmaker. He's gonna write a script. He's gonna make a movie that he thinks himself and general audiences will want to see. And I don't know, man. I just don't feel like any solo superhero movie is going to live up to that unless maybe it's like a Batman or an Iron Man.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that it'll probably be because this movie ironically does have like similar problems in some ways as Cap 4, Brave New World.
Right.
In the sense that there's already people who are ready to hate it.
Yeah.
There's already like this pressure that's put on it. Granted, the pressure was lesser with Cap 4, but still there was a lot of pressure there because, you know, Captain America's a beloved character and people want to know how it's going to carry on. There's just a lot of pressure put up on this movie, and even if the movie is good, like Cap 4 was a good movie, you know.
Right.
And even if Superman is good, in a lot of people's eyes, like unless it's one of the greatest movies they've ever seen, then it's gonna be this movie's trash.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people try to boil it down to like, you know, angry like Zack Snyder stans. Mm-hmm. And don't get me wrong, those people absolutely exist. But the real issue that people who are prepared to hate this movie is people who are Henry Cavill fans. And there's a lot more of them than there are people who are just, oh, those are Zack Snyder stans. People don't like how Cavill was treated by DC. Mm-hmm. I mean, shit, to the point that they even reference it in Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah. And a lot of people saw that.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's so true. Henry Cavill was treated like shit, from what we can tell. You know, he's been very professional about it. But at the end of the day, man, this movie, this Superman movie, it has to be... I mean, it has to be undeniably good, but that bar is so incredibly high, you know? Like, when you think about the list of superhero movies that have been, like, universally, undeniably good, you can probably put them maybe on two hands.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, like, top tier, you probably got Dark Knight.
Yep.
3 of the 4 Avengers movies.
Yep.
And what, Iron Man 1?
Yeah, I would say so.
And shit, man,
yeah, I mean, it's not that many.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
that's it.
I can sit here and wax poetic about like Logan, but people are like, it's so sad. Well, yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw Begins in there, obviously, but yeah, I mean, but you talk about like the trifecta, right? Like made money, captured the like social zeitgeist, right? And then also like was reviewed well by critics.
Yeah.
Like there's not a ton of superhero movies that check all those boxes. And then if you take out the big Avengers team ups or like Civil War, which was Avengers 2.5, we all know. I mean, then the list shrinks dramatically. Now, I'm of a mind that, like, Fantastic Four, he does not have to knock it out. Like, we need it to knock it out of the park. Like, at a bare minimum, we need people to like the 4 of them and want to see more of them.
Yep.
Like, if that's all they eke out of this movie, probably not ideal, but it'll be fine. But, like, I've said this from probably the first time we hated a Marvel movie. So, like, Iron Man 3. When they come out with a bad Avengers movie, then it's over.
Ooh, yeah. That's going to be so hard to recover from.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they can, to be honest. Like, not fully.
Yeah. Because that brand is untarnished.
Yeah. If there is a bad Avengers movie, that would effectively lower the ceiling on what Marvel can do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're pretty much going to have to just come out with, like, a banger X-Men and ride that out for a while.
Yep. Maybe then at some point down the line they could do like an Avengers versus X-Men movie.
Yeah.
And that might get some of that cachet back. But yeah, if they fuck up the Avengers, that's trouble.
Well, speaking of the Avengers, I think our topic tonight, I would like to see in the Avengers.
Ooh.
Very much so.
Yes. And not to derail us before we get started, but how about instead, what if they never go street level with the Avengers? What if they do a Defenders movie?
Is this because we're talking about tarnished brands? Now, it has been rumored that all AWL of the Defenders are in season 2 of Born Again. Even Finn Jones.
Wow.
Yeah. He's got to get killed like real early.
See, that was fucked up. But I was gonna say something similar. I was gonna say, wow, so we lost Foggy, but Iron Fist gets to live, huh?
Yeah. Well, he's not the Iron Fist, unless they're gonna retcon that.
They're probably gonna retcon that.
That's some old bullshit.
He still had Iron Fist powers at the end of it, though.
Did he?
Yeah, we see him channel the powers through his hands and use them to like shoot guns.
Oh, right, yeah. He just didn't have like the actual Iron Fist.
Yeah,
but he could still control his chi or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because his opponent could do that still. Yeah.
Yep. Well, homies, with that being said, we know why you guys are here, so we'll go ahead and get right to it. Homies, one and all, we would like to welcome you back to another very special episode of the Superhero Homies podcast. We may not be church-going people, but we are born again. My name is Quentin, and as always, I am here with the man who has been deemed as the world's greatest co-host, perhaps even the universe's greatest co-host. That is none other than the homie Caleb.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Last night, while the homies Dylan and Oz filled in for me, you guys watched the sequel to the much maligned Batman Ninja, and I decided to not attend that function. However, I was at home in my pajamas with a Mountain Dew Baja Blast. I was getting my Baja blasted, and I was watching some good old Born Again, and that's what we're here to talk about tonight.
Yeah, you know, I think that maybe for me, I just feel like subconsciously I don't deserve too much good in life. Maybe that's what it is, you know. Like coming off the heels of Invincible, and, you know, we started Andor, we're going to finish that next week. And then, you know, continuing with Born Again, maybe subconsciously I have a little bit of Thanos syndrome where I'm like, I don't deserve to win. You know, let me watch Batman Ninja versus the Yakuza League, and that'll balance things out.
I'll be honest, man, like that's part of the reason why I didn't want to do it is because we've been on such a like hot streak, and like for the last year it's been really rough, you know. So I mean, shit, we reviewed Madam Web.
Oh yeah,
fucking Craven.
Yeah, Joker
2. That fucking Transformers nonsense.
Umbrella Academy Season 4.
Oh my God. I think that is the second lowest rating I've ever given on the show.
What was the first lowest?
Dune 84.
That's
I gave it a 1. And the 1 was just because Patrick Stewart was in it, and I had to give him the respect.
And his mullet.
Yeah, I think I would have given it like a 0, just a straight 0. Like, this is unwatchable trash.
Not even points for effort, huh?
Yeah, or maybe like a 0.5.
Okay, yeah. 0.5.
Yeah.
That's like getting an F- or an F+ plus on the test. I'm like, it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, you know, with that being said, to get into tonight's topic, I'm just going to come out right out the gate and say, this show is tremendous.
They did not have to, you know, I want to say they did not have to go this hard. And they really didn't. Like, they could have, I'll be honest, like, people were so ready to see this, they probably could have got away with a B-. Mm-hmm. But holy shit, they went hard.
They went so fucking hard, bro. And here's the crazy thing. This episode is both a come down and a setup. But it is amazing. I'm
gonna tell you, I did see, and we pointed this out earlier. It's like, you know, the IGN review, fuck them. They were like, yeah, 3 episodes without Daredevil in the suit is getting old, blah blah blah. And like, I went to the comments, and their own readers were just straight roasting him. They were like, it's an adaptation of Born Again, where like from issue this to issue this, he's not in the suit. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, yeah, and here's the thing, man. Like, between so many recent reviews from that site that shall not be named again.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how many true passionate nerds within those specific fan bases they have working there. It just doesn't feel like I've given them shit for years now, but it's like, I can at least say I know at one point in time they had real journalists who were real passionate about whatever it was they were talking about. Whether I agree with them or not, I could understand and see their viewpoint. Now it just feels like, who's available to do this, and regardless of how they feel about the subject matter or how close they are to it, fuck it, let's give it to them and they'll come up with an opinion.
Or is a person even writing it, or is an AI just writing the shit?
Oh boy! And
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now. The way I feel about all AI generated shit is, if nobody bothered to write it, then I'm not gonna bother to read it. And that's where we're at. But yeah, man, 2015 when I was at San Diego Comic-Con, I actually went to the IGN party. Okay. And I actually got to like meet and even mingle with some of their staff back then. And that's when they had like the Greg Millers, the Colin Moriartys, people like that. And I vehemently disagree with those people. Yeah. Like, they're both hardcore Sony fanboys. But they were very passionate about their work, and I appreciated that. Even when, like 85 amazing games would come out and they'd be like, nah, Zelda. Same game as 2 years ago, but that's Game of the Year, Zelda, whatever. If they want to ruin their own Game of the Year award, that's on them. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I don't feel like that's the case anymore. And honestly, a lot of gaming journalism has kind of gone that way. Like, we're so far away from, like, I remember having I have every issue of Dreamcast magazine. Oh man, DCM. And I just remember waiting patiently for that to come to my mailbox every month. And this is not about like print versus digital, because there's been some really good digital sites out there too. Like, I really love Eurogamer. And Digital Foundry, man. I spent a lot of time on both of those sites. I really like them. But you look at it now, and a lot of the really passionate gamers and stuff are like content creators, like YouTubers and things like that.
Oh yeah, so. And it feels like a lot of today's like modern audiences have migrated to that, and I don't blame them. Yeah, a lot of them are really good, or at the very least, very passionate about their opinions.
I kind of hate it, but I don't blame them.
Yeah, Well, I look at it this way, man. Like, I remember being a teenager, and if my TV wasn't on like a wrestling channel, it was on G4. Yeah, like I love G4, and looking back at it, it probably wasn't that good, but
Attack of the Show,
yeah, and
Morgan Webb was fine as fuck though. I wonder what she up to.
I don't know. I remember her partner was Chris. What's his name?
I don't really remember him that well.
Yeah, well, I mean, he went off the deep end a few years ago.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, some wild shit.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but anyways. It's like, that's kind of what I was into, when I was a teenager, because it was like the outlet or the way to get gaming information and whatnot. And when they would review new games, like I remember when they reviewed God of War 2, you know, it was just, it was the place to be.
I really miss that kind of thing, especially having like that one source that you could go to. There is a YouTuber, I'll shout him out, not a sponsor, but I like Co Carnage. I don't know if you've seen any of his stuff.
I'm familiar with him.
And a lot of his stuff isn't like, he doesn't have a ton of like, paid whatever in there. But I feel like a lot of times he and I tend to agree on games. Like, he's just kind of in my, like, his brain enjoys the shit my brain enjoys, like probably like 95% of the time. And as much as I don't like the whole like, YouTube era of this kind of thing, it does give you that ability to find somebody who, has a similar taste as you, and then, listen to their opinion. And we didn't have that choice. Yeah. So I do appreciate it. What I wish they would start doing is, I go to NPR for a lot of my news, and every single article that they have written version, audio version, video version.
Oh, nice.
Everything.
Yeah.
And I just wish they had that because, like, I can read faster than you can talk.
Yeah.
And, like, just let me read the shit. I know the irony of me saying that on a YouTube video. I get it. I completely understand.
Oh, man. That's funny. Well, speaking of being able to read, that's something that Matt Murdock can't really do. Yeah. With Braille, he can,
Yeah, that's true.
Or technically, he can just feel the print on paper.
Yeah.
That's how sensitive his touch is. Anyways, we're talking about Matt Murdock here.
Yeah, we got off on a tangent.
We did. That's what we're good at, though. This episode, it's funny. I started taking my notes on the same page that we ended the Invincible review on.
Oh.
And I was about to say, this episode is called I Thought You'd Never Shut Up. But no, that's not right.
I thought you'd never see me sitting here.
This episode is called Six Semper Systema.
You're like, yeah, and then Matt turns around the corner and Conquest shows up. Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit. Like, Matt, you might want to get some backup.
I don't think all of the defenders are going to be...
Yeah, Conquest is going to have to punch the Hulk back angry.
Yeah. Yeah, like, if you get the Avengers, yeah, but, like, out of the defenders...
Luke Cage can take an ass whooping.
Yeah, and then, Iron Fist can probably still, do damage with the hit. Mm-hmm. But y'all going to have to coordinate the fuck out of that.
Dog. It's going to look like Omni-Man versus the Guardians of the Globe.
Yeah.
That's just going to be brutal.
Because, like, Jessica's strong, but she ain't that strong.
And she don't have that high-class durability of, like, a Luke Cage.
No.
So, yeah, she'll do some damage until Conquest gets bored.
Yeah.
And rips her in half like he was about to do Oliver.
Matt needs to just not show up.
Yeah, no.
To this fight.
Matt doesn't need to be there.
No.
If you guys go back and read, like, Death of Superman, when, this is Doomsday first appearance, Batman is there, but he ain't really there.
Yeah.
He's like, you got this, Clark? All right, dog.
If Luke can gouge his eyes out, then Matt, maybe.
I still wouldn't risk it.
Yeah, no, because one mistake and it's it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So this episode, right? This is where we open up on. Is it the phone call with Kirsten?
We open up with Hector, his body in the morgue, and Matt talking with the what do you call that person?
Not
the
mortician? No. Damn it. I watched a lot of CSI.
Yeah, the person
the coroner.
The coroner. There we go.
Fuck.
Yeah. that word was kicking my ass, man. The coroner. And this intro, this opening scene is so good because it sets it up to make you think that this sounds like the Punisher might have really done this.
Yeah.
Because of all the descriptions that they're talking about. Now, in retrospect, obviously, a well-trained cop would be able to pull off the same kind of hit.
Yeah.
But, the way that it's being presented, Matt is asking, all the right questions, and it could lead one to think, okay, are they really trying to make us believe that Punisher did this? But at the same time, and they give us a few other, leading clues in that wrong direction.
Yeah.
But,
I don't think that Matt
never thought that.
Ever thought that. Yeah. And I would hope that they don't think us as the audience ever really thought it either.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully not. But it's during this scene when Matt is gathering as much information as he can about Hector's killing is when Angela Ayala shows up. And this is the niece of Hector. In the comics, she does, after his death, take up the medallion and become the White Tiger.
I think that's very clear that that's the direction they're going in.
Yeah, she's very young here, though.
Yeah, as I said, they gave even a close up on that medallion, but
right.
I mean, Born Again season 3, 4, she could show up with it.
She could.
And I like that they're playing the long game there.
Right, agreed. And yeah, so it does really seem like they're setting that up because she's the one who shows up. We don't get the wife here or anyone else. We get Angela.
Disney Plus went in, man. Not only did they say fuck, but they had a little girl say fuck.
Yeah.
And she yelled it.
She yelled it. And it was great. But she's not having a good time because her uncle is dead. And she feels like no one really cares. And she also feels that the dirty cops did it. And there are so many little breadcrumbs that lead to like the last scene of this episode.
Yeah, when she started going into like, you know, the system is fucked and like nobody's gonna help, you know, whatever, and you could just feel that just tearing into Matt.
Yeah, and when Matt says to her, he says something like, "You have to believe that someone will come and find your uncle's killer."
Yeah,
you know, so. You can make the assumption that maybe he was talking about through the legal system, but come on.
Yeah. And I mean, this episode kept this level of awesome.
It did.
Pretty much the entire time.
Which is incredible, you know.
Yeah.
The next kind of big scene we get here is honestly like this episode is so good and so interesting that even though this is a big moment, and at the time it really doesn't feel like it because the episode keeps going at such a brisk pace, but we see Muse carrying a body down the subway tunnels.
Yeah, this episode felt like it was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it was just over because it was, I mean, there's no dragging it. It's paced perfectly.
Yeah. This scene probably, I can see it maybe throwing some people off wondering, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, did he kill Hector?
And at the end of the episode, you're still like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah. So we finally get our first appearance of Muse here, and I am happy to report that he is just as creepy as he needs to be.
Yeah. He seemed to be like draining the blood of his victims to paint with.
Yeah. And that's his shtick.
Yeah.
He loves it. We'll come back to Muse later on. But the next scene that we get here, I didn't realize really the importance of this scene until much later on in the episode. But we see BB and Daniel, I believe.
At the club.
In
the club.
They was drinking. And they were discussing Fisk. But not only just Fisk, but specifically some of the things that he plans on doing. Daniel just let that shit go.
He was just... And, you know, I want to pretend, even if it's not really what's happening, in my mind, like, BB is just using this motherfucker. Like, they don't actually really want to hang out with him. Because you know he just talks about Wilson Fisk all the time.
All the time, bro. That's kind of the vibe that I got.
Yeah.
You know, was that she... I don't want to say that she's, like, malicious, but if she's got, like, her uncle's DNA in her, you know, like, if her and her uncle are that close and that similar, she's got that dog in her in that journalistic sense.
Yeah.
Know? So
that shit sure made the paper.
Yeah.
The front page.
Right.
And this scene I kind of thought maybe just was throwaway too, but they're not wasting any time here.
No, not wasting any scenes either.
No.
So yeah, they were talking about something about Trump undercutting the union, and
I think you had a Freudian slip there.
Did I say Trump?
You said Trump. But yeah, Wilson Fisk. Anyway. So there's someone watching or listening to this, and like the whole thing went over their head, and they just went, "Motherfucker!" You just blew their goddamn mind.
Oh shit.
So Wilson Trump, anyway.
Yeah.
Wilson Trisk.
Yeah, Wilson Trisk. Yeah. Yeah, Dilson Trisk. They're talking about Kingpin. If I call him Kingpin, I won't call him Trump.
Can he be Wonald? Because that's funnier. That's funnier to me.
Oh no. Shit. And they both should be bald.
Yeah,
anyways.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, but Daniel was speaking about how I almost did it again, about how Fisk was undercutting the union, and this had to do with like the garbage collection.
Yeah.
going on, and how he felt that Fisk had a more efficient way of dealing with it, and he really had that Fisk dick in his mouth, and he was just going on about how amazing his ideas were.
I don't think he ever has taken it out.
That's true.
He just lives there now.
But on their way out of the club, we see a guy who is getting arrested outside of a convenience store who will come back in just a moment.
And once again, they're not wasting any scenes here.
Not wasting no. All of this looks, just like it could be throwaway.
Yeah.
But it's not. The next scene we get here is the marriage counseling scene again with Heather, Matt's girlfriend.
That's a deep cut, folks. If you've been listening to all of our Born Again episodes.
Holy shit.
What was it, Michelle?
I called her Christina the first time.
Yeah,
And then
Heather.
I didn't recognize her in the next episode. And
yeah. Yep.
It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But now I know.
Yeah, it's just all white girls with a psychology degree are the same.
Oh, the same. Absolutely. Yeah.
Got it. I understand. I'm not mad at it. But Heather,
yes. She is counseling Fisk and Vanessa, and this is awkward.
it is very awkward. Also, as they keep talking about Adam, and, we saw we don't know where the marks on Fisk's knuckles in the previous episode came from.
Right.
And I'm just like, there's no chance whatsoever that Adam, if he is alive, is in a good predicament right now. There's no way that his situation is positive.
Can't be.
No.
Yeah.
But I was like, but odds are he may not be alive at this point. This is how I was thinking.
I was thinking he was dead.
Yeah. Vanessa thinking the same shit.
Yep. It's actually potentially worse.
Yeah.
I think, not to jump ahead, but Adam probably wishes he were dead.
Yeah, probably. And I'll also say, too, that with, the thing about it here is, everybody knows about the history of Wilson Fisk and his record. And, if you meet the guy and you're a psychologist, you're immediately, just analyzing this fucking basket case.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think the therapist realizes yet that Vanessa is just as bad as him, if not worse in some ways.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't realize it.
Yeah, Vanessa's got her played.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you kind of wonder what's going to be the long game here with Heather being the one providing the counseling for these two very dangerous people.
Well, out of the three people in that room, I think Muse is going to kill one or two of the people who have vaginas.
Oh my gosh. If Muse killed Heather, that would be...
Because if you think about it, man, this show, one central theme all the way through each one of these episodes has been that they have been showing the dichotomy between Fisk and Daredevil.
And they continue that throughout this episode.
Yeah. That is the running theme. So, if they both have to deal with, a similar loss at Muse's hands, and then the show examines, how they both deal with it.
Oh, man.
Although, I mean, Muse is a sick motherfucker, but you really don't want both of these people after you.
Absolutely not.
You really don't want one of them after you. But at least if only one of them is after you, you can go to the other one. But if they're both after you,
you're fucked, dog.
You are so fucked.
Yeah, and you're going to even have a hard time getting out of New York.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be this person.
No.
At all.
Yeah. But, they do mention Adam and the affair, and I ain't going to lie, man. Vanessa, for Adam's sake, she should have shut the fuck up. When she started waxing poetic about his hands and how she just, what made her fall for him, you could just see Fisk over there, gritting his teeth.
Yeah. Yeah. D'Onofrio is phenomenal at all of this because scene after scene, you can just see it. He's doing everything he can to keep it together. Mm-hmm. And, he almost boils over in this episode twice. The first time is right here, and then we'll get to the other one in a bit. And he almost broke.
Yeah.
The second time.
Oh, I
He was this close.
I thought that kid was done.
I did too. Yeah, I thought they were both done.
Yeah. Yeah. So after the marriage counseling is over, we do get some more interesting exposition here about Vanessa and her father.
Yep.
And he was kind of a degenerate gambler who she couldn't depend on, and he kind of left. And so that's why when Fisk was gone, she thought that there was a good chance that things were just over. She didn't know when or if he was coming back.
And in his defense, he did get shot in the eye.
He did. He did. Yeah. But afterwards, Heather asked to speak to Vanessa alone, and then Heather says to Vanessa, or she asks her if she is okay. And the look on Vanessa's face was like, oh, sweet summer child.
Right.
You don't really know what's happening here.
Yeah, you really don't.
Yeah. And she said, no, I am absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Really good scene here. Also, one more thing. Heather does say something. At the time, I wrote it down because I thought it was a really cool quote. But man, did it come back in a big way. Heather says, forgiveness isn't just the highest form of love. It's the only way forward. Mm. And that line comes back. And I think that Fisk maybe took that the wrong way.
I think he did too.
The next scene, we go to Matt. He's on the rooftop and he's fiddling with that horn tip again.
Yep.
And it's getting progressively worse because he's on a rooftop with the horn. Come on.
Yep.
And this is when he gets a phone call from Kristen. And this is just a small thing that I was curious about. I wonder why Kristen's scene was shot that way, because she was completely enshrouded in shadow, you know. And it's like, I wonder, like, did they just ADR the lines, maybe change the dialogue, and then just dim it so you couldn't see that? I don't know.
Or maybe they didn't have the actress and that was a reshoot.
Could have been, yeah.
You know?
Could have been that. But yeah, Kristen calls Matt asking for basically a favor to represent who will come to know as Leroy Bradford. Very interesting character.
Yeah.
And we can go ahead and roll right into the Leroy Bradford scene here, where we find out that Matt's going to be basically his public defender.
Yeah. I'll be honest, man. He's probably not the first person to use the scroll defense.
Bruh, that shit had me dying.
I like how Matt just deadpan.
Yeah.
Nope.
Well, the whole scene I thought was hilarious when they sitting down having their one-on-one.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, Matt knows you're lying.
Right, yeah.
And so when the first thing Leroy does is immediately lie, and Matt's like, okay, so the convenience store has security cameras, and there's eyewitnesses, and they found you with the fiddle faddle.
him trying to just very seriously be like, and that's when you took the 5 boxes of fiddle faddle from the store. You're just like, motherfucker. All the humor in this episode is amazing.
It is. And then on top of that, Leroy keeps changing his story, and Matt is like slowly losing his patience.
Yeah.
And so I forget some of the specifics, but Leroy's lies were just hilarious because like his story would completely fucking flip as he would go on, and and Matt was just getting so impatient. And then Leroy goes, "Could it have been a scroll?"
Yeah.
And there's just this brief pause,
and then nope.
No.
Isn't there a thing that Matt actually could tell the difference?
It depends. In like the Secret Invasion comic, even Professor X couldn't differentiate the scrolls.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I guess as long as you don't ever have the thought, oh, I'm a scroll.
Yeah. You were like, that's a weird thing to think to yourself.
Yeah. Don't be a scroll. Don't be a scroll. Don't be a scroll.
That's also a weird thing to think. But I thought the scroll defense was hilarious. So I guess like the scrolls, they're just, how much of that was publicly known?
Well, after Secret Invasion, it's all public because at the end of that, after the Rhodey reveal, the president at the time declares them like a national menace or to society or whatever.
Yeah, that's right.
Which I guess he didn't get reelected. So.
Yeah, well, we know we got Thunderbolt for a brief while.
Yeah.
So that would be terrifying. Like, imagine like if our government came on TV and said, "Yeah, guys, by the way, there are shape-shifting aliens walking among us. Good luck."
yeah, and we don't like them.
Yeah.
For the record.
For the record.
Have a good night. God bless America.
Like, what?
What?
But the scroll defense doesn't work here. But like you said, so many people have had to use that.
Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't me, Your Honor. It was a scroll.
It was a scroll. Like, God damn it. Oh, yeah. So, 5 boxes of Fiddle Faddle, man. That sounds like Cracker Jacks.
It's a lot of Fiddle Faddle.
A lot of Fiddle Faddle. Yeah. Yeah. We know they got it like the coffee caramel flavor and like
the original.
And you got to have the original.
Yeah.
For sure.
They probably got like a sweet and salty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to. They probably have like a sweet heat type deal too for one of them.
We do appreciate you, Mr. Bradford, for not stealing the Dick and Nips.
He did not steal. He understands the sacredness of the Dick and Nips.
Yeah,
yeah.
You got to pay for those.
Yeah, you got to pay for the Dick and Nips. Come on.
Yeah.
He's not a monster. He's just hungry.
Right.
So even though Leroy is like on his 11th or 12th offense,
right,
he wants probation. And Matt is calmly trying to explain to him, it's not how this works.
This whole scene where he goes and talks to the DA is amazing.
It is. I think that she wanted some of that Matt dick.
She really did. Like, from jump. And he was rolling his charisma checks with advantage.
Right.
And he was like 17, 20, 19, 20, 17.
Shit was wild, bro. I mean, and he just, like, with those charisma rolls that he made, he was able to get it down from like something that was going to be over 30 days, like 35 days.
Yeah,
down to 10. Impressive.
Which is really only going to end up being 8 because
he already spent one or a few, and
he was going to get credit for both of the days he was there.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of a win as far as Matt's concerned. And hell, I would much rather spend, if I had to choose between 35 days in fucking prison or 10. I guess give me the 10.
Yeah, right.
But this scene doesn't slow down because on Matt's way out of the building, he runs into good old Officer Powell.
Yeah, this is going to come to a head for sure.
Yes. Yeah. I think Punisher's probably going to deal with this guy.
Probably. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, Punisher's in this episode.
What? Did I watch the wrong version? I just run out of the room.
Yeah. But I also really love this interaction between these two here. Matt is accusing Officer Powell of killing Hector or of being a part of maybe a team of people who killed Hector.
Right.
And Matt is listening closely to Powell's heartbeat. He did not do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was really telling. And then Powell, he goes on this whole tirade about how his dad and his brother and his granddad all carried a badge and what it means to him, even though he's a dirty fucking cop.
Yeah.
And then he goes, and also, it probably won't be too well received to find out that a lawyer was tampering, with evidence or tampering with a case. And also some of the other officers probably wouldn't appreciate that either. And Matt replies with, "You're going to have to bring more officers."
Yeah. I mean, more than you brought last time. That shit was hilarious.
Oh, I love that shit.
Yeah. I mean, Vic Mackey used to say all that same shit.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is absolutely true. Leroy is not happy with his 10 days probation.
No. And the monologue he gives here is really good.
It is. Because at first, like, as the audience viewer, you're completely on Matt's side here. Like, come on, man. He got you down from 35 days to 10 with 2 already served.
Yeah.
Like, what more do you want? Like, you did steal the fiddle faddle.
Yeah. Yeah, you stole the damn fiddle faddle.
But you listen to Leroy's case, And Leroy talks about how the last time he was locked up for 30 days or whatever, he missed his SSI hearing and they took his benefits. And then he had to start eating out of the dumpster. And he starts talking about all these other things that lead up to just him not really having any options or any choices in life. And, you know, he basically tells Matt that he convinces Matt, you can tell, that the system is broken.
Yeah.
And you can see it on Matt's face.
Yeah.
It was a really cool scene. I
don't want to skip over this.
Mm-hmm.
The first time when Matt's like, I'll see what I can do. And he's like, see, now that's hilarious because you can't see shit. That shit was hilarious.
Oh, shit. There had to have been several times when Matt wanted to snatch him from across the desk.
Well, they had the bars.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Between them.
Yeah. Well, it's still Matt.
Or he might have.
He might have.
Yeah. But even Matt cracked up at that joke. He was like, actually, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. I thought this next scene was also hilarious, too. We're introduced to a bunch of kids singing, "We built this city."
My God. I loved this so much. Because every time it pans back to Fisk, you can tell he's just like, I'm dying. Like, why did I sign up for this?
Oh, that shit was hilarious. Because he was grimacing and wincing. Like it was causing him physical pain.
Yeah.
But he was trying to put on like a smile.
Yeah.
And then when the kids got done, the teacher's like, all right, kids, next song.
And he's like, oh, no. No. Oh, no.
Oh, that's quite okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that shit.
I must get back to Vanessa.
But it's during this scene when Daniel he let slip to Fisk. I guess, is that his
Chief of Staff?
Chief of Staff,
Yeah.
Sounds right. He lets it slip to the Chief of Staff that there's been a hit piece put out on Fisk in the paper.
And she's had enough, man. She's like, I hate this shit.
Right. And then even worse, Daniel lets it slip that it was also me who did the hit, who was responsible for the hit piece.
And she doesn't throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
She's just like, if you just shut the fuck up, we'll fix it. Mm-hmm. And oh man. When like all the humor in this episode just lands so perfectly.
Yes.
Especially when it was like Latvian Heritage Day or something.
Next scene, yes.
In the next scene. And he finds out about this shit like right before he walks in there.
Yes.
And he was like, why do I give a fuck about whatever Heritage Day? And she's like, because they vote or whatever. And he's like, God, I hate this. And he walks in and they're singing the same fucking song.
In Latvian. That shit was hilarious. I was like, Fisk could kill everybody in here right now and wouldn't think twice about it.
Yeah. And then when it goes straight to his all hands meeting and Daniel admits that he's the one that did it and Fisk clears the room, I'm like, you should probably leave with everyone else.
Yep.
This is the first time that I thought he was about to break. I was like, he's going to kill Daniel in front of the Chief of Staff, and that's going to be what gets her in line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought was going to happen too. And by the way, all of this is terrible for Adam.
Yeah.
Because Fisk has to take his frustration out on somebody.
Yeah. It's probably going to be him.
It's probably going to be Adam. Yep.
Yeah. Hey, at least he finally got a nice meal.
I was going to report on that. Actually, yes.
This is the first time I ever seen him eat something I'd also want to eat.
Yeah, right. That's what I was thinking. And, it was, again, like that duality between him and Matt, Yeah.
Oh,
my gosh. But Daniel, he does confess to Fisk that, yes, it was actually me, sir. I apologize. And even though he really fucked up, he never once took that Fisk dick out of his mouth. Like, it just stayed there the whole time.
The whole time. And then he just would not shut the fuck up, man. No. He just kept talking.
And at one point, the Chief of Staff was like, maybe you should shut the fuck up, Daniel.
Yeah.
But Fisk, his anger does reside, and he lets him keep his job. But in certain words, Fisk does convey, if you fuck up like this again, what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, when he's like, it'll be the last thing you ever do. And this is where the Chief of Staff is just like, what? You mean the last thing he'll ever do, Here?
Or anywhere.
No. No. It's the last thing he'll ever do. I'm telling you, man, I think Fisk is going to kill this dude.
Oh, yeah. I think so, too. He's going to fuck up again royally somehow. And, yeah, Fisk is going to get the drop on this guy. And it's going to be real bad for him.
And it's kind of rude to kill somebody while they're endlessly filleting you.
Yeah. This is true. There's etiquette, you know?
Yeah.
So Matt searches for the shell casing that couldn't be recovered from Hector's body or his shooting.
The way he did this was amazing.
It was great.
It was brilliant.
Yeah. Using those super senses of Matt's, he was able to deduce that the shell casing must have gone slightly downhill, curved to the right, down into a strudel grate, and he was able to recover it. And lo and behold, there is a Punisher skull logo on the casing.
Yep.
You know how much of a fanboy you got to be to put a Punisher logo on the casing?
Your bullet casings?
God damn.
Yeah, there's not just like custombulletcasings.com.
Yeah.
You know? Here, get 10,000 with whatever logo on it.
Yeah, get a discount. Yeah, no. And Matt follows a trail that leads him down to us seeing Frank Castle.
Yes.
And this was a great meeting.
This whole scene is just perfect.
Oh, man. I could have seen like a whole episode of just this.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, too, like, John Bernthal refused to do the original run of this. Because they tried to bring him in for the original Born Again before it got revamped. And he was like, I don't support this version of the character.
Oh, wow.
He was like, I won't do it. Because he's very invested in this character.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, I won't do it.
I wonder what kind of fuck shit they were going to have him doing.
I don't know, man. There's no telling. Like, they probably either went one of two ways. They probably either, like, had him completely give up being the Punisher, and like now he like works at a laundry or something, or he's got an ice cream truck.
Oh no!
Or they probably went the opposite direction, and they probably had him as like a villain, and they had him just go like Red Skull and just start killing people like willy nilly.
Yep. Yeah, they probably made him super cartoonish.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that option. So I don't know, man, but whatever it is, like, but apparently when they brought John Bernthal back in, he said that they, actually consulted him on the creative direction of Frank.
Man, John Bernthal, he isn't mentioned enough when you talk about actors who were just meant to play certain parts.
Yeah.
He was meant to be Punisher.
He's absolutely perfect as Frank. And then, a lot of people's issues with the first two episodes of the Netflix show was that we didn't necessarily get a comic accurate Frank because, he's very much just like a veteran with PTSD, a grudge against the system. And in the first two seasons, he kind of constantly questions his mission. In the comics, Frank Castle is very devoted to his mission.
Yes,
and we see here though that now those two seasons really act as an origin story.
Yeah.
And after the time gap that we've experienced here, this is a Frank Castle who is very comics accurate,
very much so,
and he is 100% like bought in. Like he's off the fucking deep end. There's no talking to Frank.
No,
that's it. Like this is the mission.
It should concern Matt that he has similar sentiments now as Frank Castle.
Yeah.
Like when Foggy is brought up.
Oh, man.
Man, yeah.
Charlie Cox can win a fucking Emmy for this.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
God damn, this is great. Because
this scene is perfect, man.
It is. Like, I really wish I had time to just go back and rewatch it because it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But, before, I think right before Foggy is mentioned, Frank says to Matt, I don't think you came here to ask for help. I think you came here to ask for permission because you know that your way of doing things isn't working and you want permission to put that suit back on and go out there and do what you do. And I thought that was great. And Matt just kind of smugly laughs it off like, hey, Frank, you're way off.
Yeah.
He was right on the money.
Yeah, I love when he says the pain and the guilt. He says something along the lines of like, that's my whole life or something like that, and he's like, I can smell it on you.
Yeah.
It's like, and the just the weight of that sentence, because Matt is the one with the heightened senses.
Yeah.
You know? And like, Frank is just, for all intents and purposes, a regular dude. As a matter of fact, his hearing is kind of shitty from all the explosions.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's just it's such a great poetic line that he says. And when Foggy gets brought up, man, you see Matt unsuccessfully fighting the tears.
Yeah. He can't hold it back, man. Because Frank says to him, what about your buddy that died? Say his name. Why don't you say his name? He calls Matt a coward.
Yeah.
And Matt can't say it, man.
No.
And yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. And like when Frank's like, you hear him talking to you. He's like, every time I'm getting ready for a mission, I can hear my little boy talking to me. Oh. And you can just tell Frank has gone completely off the deep end.
Oh, yeah. 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 He's lost the fucking plot,
I don't think Frank has taken a bath in who knows.
What's that got to do with the mission? Huh?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. It has to smell awful in there.
Oh, for sure. Like, I'm surprised Matt could withstand it as long as he could.
Yeah.
Like, Frank is living next door to the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know Matt had to smell that shit from like 2-3 hallways away.
Right. He just followed the Punisher's scent all the way.
Yeah, fucking Pigpen Frank Castle.
Do you think we see Frank Castle again this season?
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
I think we're gonna see him suit up sooner rather than later. Muse can't go to prison.
No.
So someone's gonna have to kill that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And Matt doesn't do that, so
yeah. Well, Matt could just throw him off a roof.
That's true. It's true. Does Muse have like super regen or whatever? Like Bullseye?
Not quite.
Okay.
Yeah, so it might not go as well, but Matt could just be like it was an accident.
Daredevil was talking to Batman. He's like, "Yeah, Bruce, I really like that thing you do where you like, throw the people off the roof or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah, I just usually get them with like the grappling gun and then toss them off." And then Matt's like, "You what?"
Batman's like, "Yeah,
yeah,
I strike fear into them and I grapple their feet at the last second." I mean, like, I'm sure you use your billy club the same way, right?
Yeah.
I will from now on.
Yeah, I will going forward. That's a great idea, Bat.
Holy shit. But yeah, this whole interaction between Frank Castle and Matt Murdock was tremendous.
Yes.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah. Oh. And this is about the point where I was just like, this shit's better than a Netflix show in a lot of ways.
Man. It's killing it.
Yeah, they really are just like the fact that they've had this many amazing episodes with no Daredevil.
Yeah. And then like the one time we've seen Daredevil, it was for a couple minutes in episode 1.
Yeah.
We go to Vanessa and Fisk. Like
Vanessa.
And they're just sitting in their lovely home, and I believe they're having a cup of wine. And Vanessa tells Fisk about what the counselor said, and Fisk actually guesses correctly what was spoken between those two. And Vanessa tells him that she told Heather that I don't have any fear of you, like that you will cause me any physical harm. And then she questions it, and she goes, "But should I be?"
Yeah.
And Fisk, in so many words, says, but he does it in a roundabout way. And then Fisk talks about his father. And we remember from the Netflix show how his father was.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was... They both had pretty shitty dads, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both got daddy issues, for sure. But Fisk tries to reassure Vanessa, about where they're standing and that they're going in the right direction. And then, again, that duality, we go over to Matt and Heather. And Matt is coming home late, and Heather is there in his home. Things have progressed very quickly with those two.
Matt cannot be having a good time. This is a recipe for disaster.
Bro, yeah. It is illegal in the cosmic rules of the universe for Matt Murdock to be too happy for too long.
Yeah, if he has a good day, like 3 days in a row, like Uatu gets involved, right. Galactus just like stops whatever he's doing and like comes towards Earth.
Right.
Like,
something's gonna happen for sure.
Like the 616 anchor being is Matt Murdock's misery.
Yes. His misery is what keeps the universe together.
Yeah.
Without it, there's no hope.
Yeah.
So Matt being happy, man, he's gonna have to sacrifice that. All right. But Matt and Heather seem very happy together, and again, just that duality. Fisk and Vanessa are struggling to maintain or to get back their relationship.
Right.
Whereas Matt and Heather, like, their new romance is blossoming. Like she's already staying over at his place, it seems several times. And so they're having a good old time. I think you're onto something though. I think Muse is gonna kill her, and that's gonna push Matt back to where he was, maybe like when Foggy died.
Now, on the other hand, the way it could work is Muse could kill Vanessa. Kingpin finds out that his therapist is Matt's girlfriend. And then Fisk, in his rage, kills Heather.
Oh. Ooh.
I think both of them are probably on the chopping block.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, because it's that duality we keep talking about,
Mm-hmm. Man, I especially am not ready to see Vanessa go, but I trust the show, man. If they do, then
she's so good, man.
Yeah.
But they've got to do something with this storyline, right? With him and Kingpin, they can't stay estranged forever.
Yeah, and they also have to do something with Vanessa and Fisk, and I don't see them having a happily ever after.
No,
no.
I think Vanessa is going to go back and probably run the criminal empire.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we didn't mention this scene earlier, but it is made mention that like the criminal underworld is beginning to boil over without there being somebody there to reel them in.
Yep.
So it's gonna come to a head sooner or later, and they better hope that fucking Punisher don't come out of retirement.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Frank is gonna love this. Frank doesn't seem like he's retired to me.
I guess not, right? I mean, maybe he's not retired, but he doesn't seem like he's.
He's not like going hard.
Yeah, yeah. And so, kind of the closing moments of the episode here again are amazing. We see Matt get up in the middle of the night, and he goes to what I call the blind cave, unless you have a better name for it. And Fisk gets up, and he finally goes to someplace secluded in his home, and he gets some good food. Like you made mention earlier, like it's the one meal that we finally see Fisk eat where he gets to indulge. And when Matt's in the blind cave, he has like all of his cows up there and his billy clubs. And then we also get the reveal here from Fisk's POV that Adam is not only alive, he is chained up, and you can tell by the disheveled look on Adam, he's been in there for a while.
What's the dude that makes the suits? Melvin?
Melvin, yep.
Did he just have Melvin make like a bunch?
Maybe. A bunch of backups? Yeah.
At the end of the season, he's going to blow them all up.
God damn. Because I don't need the suits to be Daredevil.
Yeah. or he's going to be fighting Muse and Fisk, and then he's going to like activate some shit, and like all the suits are going to like fly to him.
And so after he detonates all the suits, and Born Again season 2, he's just gonna be in the suit again with no
whatever, yeah.
No explanation at all, just back in the suit.
They're gonna put some cybernetic eyes into him.
Yeah. Hey, you guys don't like that idea, but you love fucking Iron Man 3, right?
Yeah.
This is great. We see Matt with the Billy Clubs just practicing again, whereas Fisk is just the fact that he's just eating this succulent meal in front of Adam, who was pleading with Fisk to let him go.
I'll be honest, man. While Adam is in a terrible predicament, he definitely physically looks better than I anticipated. I kind of thought when we first saw him sitting there, I was like, he's gonna have this motherfucker like nailed to the wall or something.
Oh, yeah.
Or like hanging from the ceiling, or like being slowly lowered into like a bucket of acid, or
it ain't too late.
No, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that it's possible that Fisk is just gonna like starve him to death.
Yeah,
like he's just gonna come down there and eat a meal in front of him every day until he starves to death. That's a fucked up way to go.
It is. It's a super fucked up way to go. Man, listen, like there's just so much to be said about like, how do I put this? So when we talked about Invincible the other day, we talked about how much it would suck to be Paul. Like, are you sure it's worth it to risk it for the biscuit, Paul?
Right.
You're dating Omni-Man's ex-wife. Technically, from Nolan's POV, they might still be married in his mind.
Right.
Like they never got it annulled on his end.
Right.
So, that is that's super risky. Especially if he knows that technically Omni-Man he's still alive.
He's still alive.
Yeah.
Well, they actually don't know that.
They don't?
No, because Mark would have told him that he went to go be executed. And Conquest told Mark that he told him that they executed his dad right before he left.
Yeah, that's true. I guess he didn't ever tell his mom.
Yeah, so as far as they know, as far as Mark knows.
But what they know that the Omni-Man left Earth.
Right.
They don't know. So they could assume that he's probably still alive.
I don't know. I mean, I think Mark is convinced that he's dead, but
no, I meant like Debbie and Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that Mark told them.
Oh yeah, maybe.
But
he probably did.
Even then, man, you ain't see him die.
Yeah, you didn't see him die, and you saw what he did to Earth.
Yeah, you saw what he did to Mark with that one punch.
With that fucking
like the hardest anyone has ever been hit.
And then had the audacity to tell him to think. He's got 17 concussions right now. Yeah. And then, you juxtapose that in a different superhero TV show with Fisk, and Vanessa assumed that Fisk may never come back, because of the issues with her dad. She does have like some abandonment issues, and rightfully so. She didn't think that she'd ever see her husband again, maybe.
Plus, he got shot in the head.
He got shot in the head. And he was going off the deep end. And she found someone who she can really gel with and who wasn't a part of the business. And now look at him. It just doesn't pay sometimes, you really have to know who you're getting into bed with these days.
That's right.
Yeah. Like imagine, you bring someone home, man, you really like this girl, and come to find out, man, she's been fucking El Chapo. It's like, is this worth it?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think it is, yeah. But then the last shot of the episode is we see Muse down in what looks like the subway system again, and he is torturing some guy by siphoning his blood, from what we can tell.
Yeah, not a good time.
Not a good time. And Muse will probably use that to paint some sort of portrait, and then he'll probably prop up the bodies in some sort of artistic way. That's what he does. I don't know if you caught this or not, but apparently Muse has been musing for at least some time, because we see graffiti of him on one of the walls this episode.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't have graffiti, are you even a hero or a villain in New York?
Right.
Because everybody's got some.
Yeah, everyone's got something. Yeah, that's true. But that's the episode, man.
That's it.
Yeah.
What you want to score this one?
We actually forgot to score episode 3.
Did we really?
We did.
Oh, well, shit. I guess we got to do that now.
Yep. Oh, man. I'm going to give episode 3... I'm going to give episode 3 an 8.7. I thought that they handled the trial of Hector Ayala tremendously well.
Get out of my brain.
It's on par with the comic books, but they still had a shocking ending, even for people who've read the comic, but they still conveyed the message perfectly and continue the story as well. And just like the sympathy that you feel for Hector is all there. Everything is all there, and it fits perfectly. Episode 4, I'm actually going to give episode 4 a 9.5. I gave, it's the same score I gave episode 1. I think that this is tremendous, man. And you could say that maybe the only thing that this episode is missing, which it didn't need, but you could say that, well, I wish there had been more action this episode.
Yeah, there's not an action set piece.
There's not. But at the same time, I don't know where you would put one in this episode.
Right.
It's like this episode does not need a big action set piece. I think that we're probably going to get one of those next episode. But considering that this is both a come down from episode 3 and a setup for things to come, like episodes in this position normally don't do better in my mind than like a 7, maybe a 7.5.
Right.
Just because of the position that the story's in at this moment. But the fact that they can make an episode like this so damn good and compelling, it just speaks volumes for how they're treating this product. So, yeah, I give it a 9.5, man.
You literally took both of your scores directly out of my brain. Because I was sitting here, I was thinking 9.5 the whole night.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, we didn't score 3. And I was like, that's about an 8.7 because I gave episode 2 an 8.5. And yeah, man, I'm not going to change my rating just because you had the same one. I mean, that's kind of the nature of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I stick with that. I'm going to give episode 3 an 8.5. I agree with you. I think that the trial was handled very well. I thought that it was very riveting TV. We had a shocking ending. I think them continuing through all these episodes to keep up this theme of the duality between Daredevil and Fisk. You can tell that they have a story they want to tell in this episode or in this season, and they're not afraid of a slow burn to get there, and they're keeping it interesting while they're building. Mm-hmm. This is a masterful season of television already, unless it goes to shit, know. Episode 4, 9.5. I'm going to agree with you there. The only thing this thing is really missing is a big, flashy set piece of some kind. And, that's just because that's something we've come to expect from our, superhero stuff. Mm-hmm. But, honestly, it didn't need it. The humor in this episode was amazing.
Yes.
It was so layered and it fit. Mm-hmm. They didn't have to destroy anybody's character integrity for it.
Right.
And I love that shit. Nobody was cracking a one-liner.
Yeah.
Except for was it Leroy?
Yeah.
And his one-liner worked.
Yeah. I almost wish that Leroy had been Turk. I don't know if you remember that character.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been fun.
But yeah, man, I thought that they just handled this episode so well. I think they really have a lot of setup, and it's important to remember something big is about to happen because there's a reason they're giving us 5 and 6 next week.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting 2 episodes.
Ooh.
So we will be right here to review those next week. And we're also finishing up our Andor season 1 coverage.
Yeah.
Which you said the listeners have been digging the Andor stuff. So.
They have been, yeah. So that's gonna be a nice week next week.
You just have 6 short hours of Andor to watch between now and Monday.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Just the easy, brisk 6 hours.
I will promise you that the pacing will be way better on the back 6.
I had a feeling, just because the way that episode 6 went, it's like, wow, that was really
the
really
gloves are off.
Yeah. And that's also such a good stopping point, just because they got the job done. Now they're setting up for what's next.
Yep. Yeah.
So homies, I know you guys have been enjoying the Andor review. We'll be back next week to wrap up Andor season 1. Really looking forward to that, man. So we got some shit on the horizon.
We do.
Yep.
It's on the way.
Anything else you have to say before we wrap up?
Nah, man, that's it. I would just encourage everybody to stay tuned because we're making a lot of content here lately. We're bringing you all the stuff. I think this might be the most content we've ever put out on a steady cadence. So
absolutely.
Here we are.
That's what we do. Well, that's going to be all for now, homies. Thank you guys again for listening in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this half as much as we did. We will see you guys again soon. But until next time, my name is Superhero Homie Q.
And I'm Superhero Homie Caleb.